And welcome back to the Ruby Tuesday. Today I'm going to be talking about The Frog. If you know anything about my channel, you know I cover a lot of world cinema, especially when it comes to K-drama. Netflix used to buy the rights up to many K-dramas when it first started getting really popular. And since then, we've had a trickle of extremely great content. But unfortunately, with the cornucopia and complete saturation of what K-drama has been, we've had a mix mash of quality since that peak of just awesomeness. And so you kind of have to dip, dive, dodge and duck.
Dodge, duck, dip, dive and dodge.
To find a good one, a really great one. We might be looking at a great one. Let's jump in. A man's life unravels when a mysterious woman arrives at his pension one summer, forcing him to grasp tightly to what he cherishes most. There's 8 episodes, they're about 45 minutes apiece. Complete transparency, I've seen episodes 1 to 4 and I'm not going to be giving a score because I think I can't do that justifiably. I know some reviewers do that. I'm not one. I need to watch the whole thing before I give it a complete score. But for now, let me just say that I am mesmerized by this series. Mostly because of how it's filmed. It's filmed like it's made for TV, which it absolutely is. It's very picturesque, very pretty looking, very crisp and crystal clear. And sometimes that can do a series or a movie harm by how they film it is obviously when it comes to the quality of the camera techniques used within it is the difference between whether it feels like a TV drama movie that is cheap and just looks crystal clear because that's all they had the creativity and budget to do, or the choice of how they created. I'm happy to say the latter here is because they film very low a lot of the time. And so there are these angles between corridors or just somebody or a character doing whatever they're doing, just mundane tasks with their life, but it feels creepy. Then you have the added sound effects or score that is often scary and creepy, very mysterious, even though our characters might be doing nothing like hoovering or doing the dishes or having guests arrive at your hotel. That normally means it's going to be very boring. What you're watching on the screen is not necessarily the story you want to tell. With all those things that you would keep in for a story, you would normally edit those out. But here, it's a driving force between the score and the camera angles, the contra zooms or the shallow focus or soft focus if you want. It's basically just an expertise in storytelling using every trick under the book to make the viewer feel a certain way. And then we get to the actual story of it. Even though the synopsis is about a man whose something happens in his life and that kind of follows him along the way, and you see the ripple effect, we as viewers really have to pay attention to what we're watching because we bounce between timelines, between what happened, what's the instigating moment, the MacGuffin, to what is happening in the future that seems to be spurring a similar effect, and then that character, our main protagonist, the hotel owner, trying not to have those things unravel his life once more. Even though the instigating moment, the MacGuffin that makes this series happen, is the thing that's going to continuously unravel his life. He will try as he may try to not have things completely ruin his life. And so we have this mishmash of timelines, and I would say for the first 2 episodes it's going to be really hard if you're not paying attention to figure out which timeline you're in. For the most part, you'll be like, okay, I know who that is now. They don't ever on purpose edit in a way that makes you go, okay, we're in this timeline. There's no color palette change. There's no heading. A lot of TV series will use a heading or actually just give a date. This one doesn't do that. You have to follow it and figure out who's the younger version, who's the older version. Now, if you are South Korean or Korean and you are watching this as a normal K-drama, then you probably won't have any issues. However, if you're outside of the culture, but like even when you watch a huge amount of K-dramas like myself, you still struggle with trying to figure out. You have to pay attention, and if you pay attention, you're not going to miss anything. I'm just saying it's not one of those series that you can just have it in the background and watch, and maybe scroll through your phone. It's not that. You want to pay attention because even with those little subtle changes in the timelines, there are subtle changes to the story that's happening, giving you insight into the mystery that's unfolding. And you're going to be confused quite a lot until you reach the crescendo. I still don't know everything. I know somewhat what's happening now that I'm halfway through. The acting is top notch. people play it differently, like their characters that are surrounded by, let's say, how you would react to someone being murdered. We see a vast array of people, how they encounter a really difficult situation, and how that situation can affect, one little thing can affect so many people and one particular family. I would say that there is this underlining bullying effect that is always in South Korean series and movies. It seems to be a thing that they have, or just understand that this is part of the culture. It's something that they know that they need to change, like the bullying effect. It's all seeped throughout media, and again, it's in here, and it's horrible to watch. Even though you don't actually see much, you just see the effect of it. And that is hard for some family that's just getting ripped to shred because of a moment, and you see that spiraling out in beautiful ways. Like the storytelling devices that they use in here are fantastic. So when it comes to the filmmaking, it's excellent. It puts you on ease, but it's also mysterious, so you want to know, you want to click onto that next episode. The acting here is incredible for understanding the emotional effect of what's happening to people. There's a couple of people that you kind of are really worried about what they're going to do next, as to the characters they are the bad guys. And I'm not giving any specifics because I don't want to ruin the surprises for you guys. Suffice to say, everybody is acting incredibly. That's partly because the filmmaking and directing is excellent, the scripting is very good, and you do feel for the people that are going through this instigating moment that is kind of unraveling their life. There's some levity in some of the episodes, giving you a moment to breathe, and then we get back onto the mysteriousness of it with the thrills and the kind of grim grotesqueness of sometimes that what you see on screen is. And it's subtle, and sometimes it's a stark difference to what you see on screen to what you're actually getting in each episode. So for a moment you can be following a timeline, then you'll jump back and have that explained, and then suddenly you'll be met with, oh, this, and here is a murder with a body that's, you know, in many pieces. So suffice to say, this is definitely one to put on your list. I will be coming back probably next week talking about it on the podcast with Movies and Munchies as a complete series watch, to talk about whether I thought it stuck the ending. But for now, this is very entertaining. It's leaning into a high Nicolas Cage mark. Let me know your thoughts and feelings. Have you seen this? Will you be watching this? Is this now on your list? I hope it is. Let me know in this series, who's your favorite character that you were rooting for? Was there a particular moment when you finally got it and you were like, I know what they're doing here? Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.